Hello guys, so today we're going to be making this beautiful gown, and I have my pattern here which I've already transferred. This is the back. Now the front, I've gone ahead to transfer it to make it full. So we're going to be working with this, and we'll be altering this pattern. And to do this, we're going to be closing the bust and the waist dart, and then we're going to transfer it to the shoulder. So to do this, first thing we're going to do now is to cut out that part of the shoulder. At first I wanted to take the marking directly on that first shoulder, but later I realized that I was supposed to cut out 2 inches. So I went ahead and I did that, and then before I made another marking on it. So that's the cutting out that I want to do now. I came down from that shoulder by 2 inches, and then I want to create 2 slash line. Oh guys, I also marked that neck and armhole so it doesn't get confusing when we cut it out. So I marked 1 inch and then 0.75, 0.75, so I can create those 2 dart legs there, those 2 slash lines that I want to create for my new dart which I want to transfer. So the next thing now is for me to cut out that shoulder. Okay, now I'm going to open up those slash lines, and what this does is it gives me space so I can close these other darts that I have. So first thing now, I'm going to close this bust dart for this side, and then it's going to open up the new dart which I'm trying to create. Can you see that? Now this works with the principle of dart relocation. We did something like this earlier. If you want to know more on dart relocation, you can just scroll down to my old videos. I have a comprehensive video on dart relocation. Okay, so I've moved those 2 darts to the shoulder there, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing for the second slash line I created. I'm going to move both the bust dart and the waist dart. Okay, I just want to show you the process. Okay, all right, so I've moved both darts and I've created those slash lines there. Now I'm going to bring another paper. I decided to use a different paper so you can see it properly, and I'm just going to stick it to it so it doesn't move. All right, so guys, the next thing is for us to extend that place up, and I'm going to go up by 11 inches from that shoulder there. I went up by 11 inches, and I did the same thing for the other side there. Now that tip there, I want it to be just 2 inches wide. So I've taken that marking there and I'm going to extend it like so. And then I'll join the upper part. Okay. And then I'm going to repeat the same process for the second one. I will go up by 11 inches also. And the same thing here. And then connect it up there by 2 inches. Alright. So guys, if you don't want the top there square, you can go ahead and create some and make it a little curvy. But I'm not going to be working with that. I'm just going to leave it as it is. So the next thing now is for me to just cut out. While cutting, I decided to add my seam allowance for the shoulder. You know, we're going to join back that place to the other piece, the 2 inches which we cut out. So I decided to add 0.5 inches allowance to the pattern directly instead of doing it on the fabric. I just decided to do it on the pattern here. So now I'll go ahead and cut out everything. So guys, while cutting, I lost some clips, but I'm going to explain every process and everything that I did to you. So this is the front pattern, and after cutting, I went in from that shoulder. That place I added 0.5 inches allowance. I further went down by 0.5 inches and I cut through it a little into the pattern. So that's like making it 1 inch. That means I went down 1 inch. Reason being that we're going to be joining the shoulder back together. Can you see? We're going to join the shoulder back together so that we have our actual shoulder size. So that was why I had to cut down like so. Also the skirt pattern, I already did it, but I didn't know my camera wasn't recording. So I'm just going to show you what I did. This is the front pattern. I drafted another front. Now we're going to be relocating our dart from that position to the side. And the first thing to do is the first dart leg, you're going to move it that way. And then the second leg, you take it and connect it to the other one like so. And then you cross that out. You don't need that dart anymore. So you come in with another paper and then you slash this new dart we have created and open it up to create room for those two pleats we have in front of the skirt part of the gown. Okay, so I decided to open up my slash line by 6 inches. You can do more, you can do less. It all depends on your choice. So I opened mine by 6 and I'm just going to stick it down like so. Alright. So now I need to blend that part, so the waist of the skirt, so they are equal. So you can see that when I folded it, they are no longer equal. So all you just need to do is just come in with your ruler and connect a straight line there, and then you cut it out, and that's all. Now we're just going to trim off every excess that we have. They are no longer needed, and that's how I came about the pattern for my skirt. Okay, so can you see that? So when you close it, you have it to be equal on the waist there, and we're just going to add half-inch allowance there and other necessary seam allowance. The same thing for the front pattern, you just add every of your seam allowance just the way we do normal. And likewise the back pattern, the skirt back pattern also. And I'm going to be closing my dart for the back of the skirt, and then the shoulder cutout, we're going to be adding 0.5 inches all around it. Now guys, I'm going to be working with this fabric here. It's 3 yards, and I'm going to be using the fabric to line it also. All right, so I've already gone ahead to cut every of the pattern piece. Now for the front, you don't need to place it on fold because it's already open, so you just need one piece for it. And for this place, we're going to be joining it together, and we're supposed to add 0.5 inches allowance to each of them. But while cutting, I discovered that there was no way we can add allowance there. So what I just did was, because I'm going to be joining on 0.25, 0.25, so 0.25 plus 0.25 in 4 places will give me 1 inch. So I added it back to the other side of the armhole, and then I added my normal 0.5 inches allowance, making that place 1.5 inches. Now I went ahead to cut the lining for the front with the normal pattern, like so, on fold. And then this is the shoulder cutout. Now this is the back pattern. I've closed my dart, and I have 4 pieces. That's for the main fabric and for the lining also. And I added my necessary seam allowances. Now this is the skirt back pattern also. I've closed my darts and I have every necessary allowance added already. Now this is also the front. Now the front is on fold, and I've cut it out, and I did the same thing for the lining. Now the other pattern, I went ahead to close the dart we manipulated, and I used it to cut the lining. So I forgot to close the dart there, so I'll be sewing it down. Now this is my center front. I added interfacing to give it some firmness. So this is the shoulder cutout, and I added a notch on the armhole there so as to differentiate the sides. When you remove your pattern, it might get confusing. So now the first thing to do now is to join that part of the shoulder where we went down by 1 inch, and we're going to be sewing it a little slanted there, like so. So we're going to be joining all those 4 parts together. Can you see, like so? So that we can have our shoulder back together. So guys, I've gone ahead to do that now. Can you see? So we have it like so now. And then the next thing will be for us to join it to our shoulder cutout. Can you see? So I'm going to do that on 0.5 inches. and then come back to show you. Alright guys, I've done that. Can you see? So we have our shoulder back there. The next thing now is for me to turn the front neckline with my lining, which I already have there. Now you know I have darts on the waistline, so I'm going to close the dart and then turn the neckline. Guys, even the back pattern piece, I've turned the neckline, but you see the 1 inch I added for zipper, I didn't close that side. So this is the front neckline. Now the next thing, we're going to move on to our skirt, and we're going to be creating we're going to be closing that slash line we created there, and in order for us to form our pleat. Guys, when cutting on your pattern, I'll advise you create some notches there so you know how to place them on each other. So I'm going to pick this side now and then fold on that place that went inside, and then finish it up on where I have a notch there. I have a notch there, but you won't be able to see it. Okay, so I'll just pin it down, and then the next thing will be to press it out so it stays firmly, and then I'm going to run a stitch on that side so as to secure it. Now for the lining, I'm going to be sewing down the darts. I've created some notches on the fabric, so I'll just sew down the darts and come back to show you. Alright guys, can you see now? I've secured that place with a stitch, and I've also gone ahead to press it down. And I've also, for my lining, I've sewn the darts and pressed it out. Can you see? So to go further, the next thing will be for us to attach the the upper bodice to the skirt part. And I'm going to do this fabric to fabric, lining to lining. And I'm going to repeat the same process for the back also. I'm going to be attaching the main fabric to the main upper bodice and the lining to each other, and have everything separate. I'll do that now and come back and show you. Alright, I've done that. So can you see? See how it's separate, fabric to fabric, lining to lining. Now the same thing for the back. You can see that there is no joining together. They are all separate. This is how you achieve a neat and a complete inseam finishing. Now the next thing will be for us to join the shoulder in order for us to be able to knit in our armhole, since this is a sleeveless gown. So what I'm going to do is to open up the shoulder and join it with the back. Now you can see how I separated them, fabric to fabric, lining to lining, and then that's how I'm going to be joining the two shoulders together. You just open them up and pick them right side facing right side. You have the main fabric together and the lining together. So guys, I've joined it. Can you see? This is how it should be. Now the next thing for us to do in order to knit in our armhole will be to flip it over, and then we're going to be stitching. Can you see the way I'm flipping it? That's like making sure that your right side is facing the other right side, like so. And then you open up your seam line that you have there, and then you're going to sew it straight down from the back armhole to the front armhole, all joined together like so. And you're going to repeat the same thing for the other side too. Alright guys, I've stitched it and I've also trimmed the excess out. Now I just want to show you how to turn it out to the right side. Now you just pass your hand through the front and into the shoulder, and then you just pull out the back piece through that side. Can you see? It's very easy, and you can see how your armhole is neat now. And then you repeat the same process for the other side too. The next thing will be to give it a good press. Guys, I've already added hemming gum to it. So now, can you see? I've pressed it out and you see how it's laying flat with the help of the hemming gum. Okay. Now this is the front pattern. This is the front main fabric. So we're going to be closing the side seam, and to do this now we're going to flip the back over the front like so, and then we're going to be picking it. Now you know we have the main fabric of the front facing the main fabric of the back, so we're going to be pinning it down. Now the first thing to do is your waistline, you want to align that seam line there and make sure that they are together, so that when you after stitching the side, you don't, one seam is not going up and the other one is going down, like they align properly. Then after that you can now pin your armhole and pin it down to your hip line and to the hem of the gown. And then you know, before you do this, you must have created your markings. You must have taken your measurement, your circumference measurement, that's your bust circumference, your waist circumference, and your hip circumference. You must have taken those markings already. And then when you're done pinning, you just go and stitch it down, and then you repeat the same process for the other side too. So guys, can you see? I've gone ahead to run that stitch, and you see my seam lines are aligning. Okay, so now that we are done with the front and the side seam, the next thing will be for us to go to the back, and we want to close a little bit of the back and then create our slit there, and then we'll fix our zipper. Okay, so to do that, now you're going to pin your back together. Remember, we didn't sew down our neckline where the zipper is, the zipper allowance. So we're going to separate the lining from the main fabric, and then we're going to align our seam lines there and pin it down. Okay, so now we're going to be measuring how long we want our zipper to be. Now this is a straight gown. You want your zip to come down a little to give you room to wear it. So at first I wanted my zip to be 21 inches long, but I later changed my mind and I moved it to 20 inches. Didn't want it to get too long. Okay, so from the 20 inches, I further went down by 10 inches and I marked there, and then what I have there, I marked it 1 inch. Can you see it? Because that's my zipper allowance, 1 inch. I marked out the 1 inch there, and then I'm going to run a stitch from that place to the other. And I'm going to repeat the same process for the lining too. Okay, so guys, can you see? I've done that now and I've pressed it. So the next thing now is for us to finish up our slit, to knitting the sides of the slit. And to do that, all we just need to do is align the two stitches together. That's for the main fabric and the lining. Can you see? So I'll pick that place where my stitch end and make sure that they are equal, and I'll just pin it down. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing for where my zipper is supposed to end. And why I'm doing this is to make sure that the two places I stitched, that is the two lengths, are equal, because if one is shorter than the other, it will not give me a perfect fit. And then I'll just flip it over like so. Can you see? And stitch down on the 1 inch. I'm going to continue the stitching on the 1 inch where I stopped initially, and then I'm going to stop half an inch before the end. Okay, can you see? I've done that for the both sides. Now you remember the stitch didn't get to the end. I stopped half inch before the hemline, so I'm going to use that half inch now to knitting the hemline all round. Alright guys, can you see? I'm done with that, and you can see how neat it is. Can you see the back? Can you see? Now the next thing will be for us to fix our zipper. So we're going to mark out our 1 inch zipper there all round. Now we're not going to be fixing the zipper to both fabric and lining together, because we'll be using the lining to cover the zipper. Alright guys, can you see? I've finished turning the zip, and you can see how neat it looks. So I'm just going to turn it out now for you to see. The next thing will be for us to create our rose, our flower in front. So I'm going to be fixing this to the mannequin, and we'll be doing that on the mannequin. Alright guys, I've created one of the rose, can you see? So I'm just going to show you how to go about the second one. And you want to make sure your pleat there is lying flat and in the same direction with the first one. So you're going to be folding that fabric extension there and make sure it's equal, and then you use your needle and thread to run a loose stitch at the hemline there. That's like stitching down the two edges together. Okay, the stitch is going to be loose because you're going to be pulling on the thread to create some little gathers there, so that you'll be able to use it to make it easier for you to be able to create your rose flower. Okay, so now I'm done running that stitch there, and I'm just going to pull on it a little. Can you see? Okay, all right, and then you want to leave your thread there because you're still going to use it to stitch it down. So right now you can just try to manipulate your fabric, and then you pin it down. As you turn, you pin. When you get the shape that you like, you just pin it down there, and then continue with your manipulation. Okay, okay, So guys, can you see how it's looking? So when you are done with this and you are satisfied with what you have, you can then use your thread, your needle and thread to sew it down and make it firm. So I will do that now and we'll see the final look. So guys, can you see our gown? In fact, my video didn't do justice to the beauty of the gown. Can you see how nice and beautiful it's looking? So I want to thank you so much for watching, and if you have subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Please do. Thank you so much. Bye. See you.